So first of all, thank you one and all for coming here for this inaugural AI and Games conference. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Dr. Tommy Thompson. I am the founder and director of AI and Games. I'm also the lead organizer of this event. I work as a consultant, developer, and public speaker in the world of AI for video games. And AI and Games, of course, is my company, started as a YouTube channel in 2014. So it's had a bit of a glow up, I would say. And today, my colleagues and I are hosting this event to fix a grave mistake. It's been 7 years since we last had an event here in Europe dedicated to AI professionals who work in the games industry. That's 7 years too long, and I think between... This is going great, by the way. But I think critically between our organizers, our speakers, and also yourselves being here, we have now broke that streak. That clock has now been reset. And I see a lot of familiar faces in the audience here. I saw a lot of familiar faces outside. It's been a long time since I've seen many of you actually in person. It's good to see you all again. Welcome back. It's been far too long. And equally, a lot of familiar faces, actually a lot of faces I don't know. We have a lot of new faces. This sector that our community has grown and expanded in numerous ways in the last 7 years. And so on behalf of everyone, it is my absolute pleasure to welcome all of you here to our first ever event. And I'm really, really excited for what we've got coming up. And I think critically, one of the reasons that we did try and get this thing running was that the conversation around AI for game development's changed quite a bit since the last time we all got together. What we use AI for, how it's used in games, what are the opportunities that still exist in front of us. It's a far more nuanced conversation than it was at the last event. Shout out to the team from Game AI North 2017 out in Copenhagen. And I'd argue it's become the biggest talking point in our industry for both positive and negative reasons. And I think this actually really came to the fore when we opened up the call for submissions. I apologize in advance for the harsh language. As you can imagine, we didn't accept this talk. And I have to say, as a Scotsman, I must commend this rather spectacular abuse of the English language. But I show this not just because www.gonnapunchu.u is hilarious, but critically, it speaks to a broader problem that the narrative around AI for game development has got away from us. It is not something that reflects the amazing work that happens out there. Some of that amazing work you're going to hear today, thanks to our speakers. Some of that amazing work is being done by all of you in this room. And of course, everyone farther afield who's eventually going to watch some of this on YouTube. Hello. And so this was one of the main reasons that we put this together. And we is the critical word. So on that note, I'd like to quickly introduce the rest of the organizational team. And one of the things that we did was we wanted to create something that wasn't for profit, but also something that could actually survive as individuals' priorities change. And so to that event, we founded Game AI Events CIC. It's a non-profit that's based here in the UK, and our job is critically to organize events that bring together the Game AI community in Europe specifically. It's part of our mandate as a charity, and we have to report back to the UK government on an annual basis on how we are spending the money we make to facilitate that aim. And so in order to kick this off, first of all, we have Alan Zacconi, from Goldsmiths University. Alan is, of course, of this parish, and he was the only other person that could legally take on running a CIC, and it didn't have a conflict of interest with the studio. But the rest of the team is equally valuable. So first and foremost, like a big thank you to Dugu Chakmak from Creative Assembly. Let me stress, Dugu and I have always got irons in the fire. We're always scheming about something. And this is the first time, I think, an idea that we've had has actually manifested in the way that we wanted. I recognize we have to go through a lot of legal and comms with different studios, and it never quite pans out. But funnily enough, you and I, because we also help run the AI Summit at GDC, we had lunch at GDC, and we were like, do we ever dig up this idea of running an event again in the UK? I don't know whether or not it can happen. Maybe, One day later, I'm standing outside Moscone West, and Matthias Siemensmeyer from Splash Damage, who also... I know I did it in the wrong order of the slide, but Matthias continues to win the award for Best Photograph of the organizational team. Matthias walks right up to me outside Moscone West and he says, we really need to do something. We don't have an event in London for the people that work in AI and we should do something about it. I was like, right, well, clearly I need to invite him to this half-baked idea we've got. And so Dugu and I had been having this conversation the rest of the week. And she said, maybe we pitch it at the AI dinner, which happens at the last day of GDC. So we're all in Fang, like one block over from the Moscone. And you'd amassed a crowd of people who were interested in hearing your idea and then came over to me and said, well, I've got the crowd, but I don't want to give the speech. I was also a few drinks in. So I can't really tell you what I said, but it was really good, obviously, because that's how we got Gabriel Robert from Ubisoft to come and join us. The man's no fool. If he thought that this was worth doing, then clearly it was worth doing. And then, of course, once you get to that, we've got a bunch of really enthusiastic people with no talent in event management. Okay? We're the first to admit this. We thought we could probably bring in the speakers, we could probably bring in the talks and help guide the conversation. I don't know how to run an event. I don't think you guys... So I spoke... That's why we brought George Osborne in. It's not just so he can... He does fire safety checks better than anyone, but at the same time, he knows how to run events. He's done a lot of this. We've been friends now for several years. And I said, dude, I know ideas are free. I've got a half-baked one that I think is really awesome. And he was like, okay, well. At the end of the day, I think we need to push forward and see whether or not we can make this a reality. So really, that's just code for he makes lots of spreadsheets. The spreadsheet game is flawless. And then once we got to that point, the next thing was, right, well, then how do you actually get everything on site? Most of you at some point have no doubt already stumbled across Sally Kevin. If I'm the face of the AI and Games Conference, Dugu is the heart, but actually Sally's the rest of the body. And she's just a machine. I don't know. She's powered by just northern anger and iron brew, I think, which is immediate kinship, I would say. And so Sally has been absolutely amazing. She's came on board literally within the last 2-3 months to help make this happen. And I want to stress this. In June, we had no venue, no budget, no speakers, just a half-baked idea and about 6 of George's spreadsheets. So it has been a huge amount of effort, both from this team here, but also from our speakers, the volunteers that you see outside, and of course, from our sponsors. I want to take a moment just to thank everyone who's came on board to help make this event a reality. They're helping us put on this event here, they're helping cater it, and much more. So first of all, to our partners, AWS for Games, Creative Assembly, and Riot Games. And I'd like to say also we have, actually AWS and Riot are on the program. We're going to welcome Arya Subramaniam over in room 2 right after the introduction. And then also we have Rachel Dong from Riot, who's going to be in this room later this morning. And then, in fact, we also have Andrei Muratov from AWS, who's going to be on our panel later this afternoon. Plus, we also have, thank our associate sponsors, ARM and Kinetics, who will also actually be welcoming Roberto Lopez Mendez from ARM and Yassine Tahi from Kinetics onto the panel this afternoon as well. And last but not least, a thank you to Bitpart AI, which some of you might think, who are they? That is Jeff Orkin's new startup, a name that carries a lot of weight in this community. And he was actually the first company that backed this. He was like, this sounds great. I want to make sure this happens. Sadly, Jeff couldn't make it over. He's hard at work, but we really appreciate his contributions to this. And these lanyards look pretty cool, not gonna lie. And of course, we've got all our speakers as well. Like, look at them. Look at what a gorgeous bunch of people. Clinically, I don't think I missed anyone. And also, your inclusion in this slide and the size of your head is not a reflection of our perception of your contribution. But all these different dimensions. A huge thank you to all of our speakers, their energy and commitment in presenting, and also actually a lot of them putting their talks together with a fairly quick turnaround. We have a lot of our speakers who've traveled from overseas to be here, from Europe and also from North America. Absolute pleasure. And subsequently, I think the program speaks for itself. In fact, right after this, we're going to welcome Tim Vervage from Gorilla to come and talk about HDN planning and the Decima engine. And then also we have Arya Subramaniam over in room 2 talking about AWS's AI pipelines. Quick mention that we've had a small change to the schedule that is not in your printed handouts, that we now have Raphael Tail's talk is at 14:45 in room 1. That's swapped with Eric Jacopin. He is now going to be in the 1740 slot in room 2. So we're spoiled for choice. Like this is, we couldn't have asked for a better lineup for the first time we try and run this event. And we're going to wrap things up at about 6 o'clock, just after 6 o'clock. One last thing, you might be thinking, look at all these wonderful people in AI and Games t-shirts, not just our organisers, but also our volunteers as well. Our volunteers are students studying in the game development courses here at Goldsmiths University. Critically, they're here to help you. Don't be afraid to say hi. Don't be afraid to chat to them. After all, we want to try and build our community and enable it to grow. They are the next generation of said community. So take the time to have a chat with them. But also, if you think, oh man, those t-shirts are pretty dope. We do actually have a limited run of AI and Games Conference 2024 t-shirts for sale. Now, can I just get this ahead? Because everyone's going to think the YouTuber, of course, he's done merchandise. Matthias.
Yeah.
As soon as we got to a point where a whole bunch of people signed up for this, he's like, in a meeting, he's like, we need t-shirts. We need coffee mugs. We didn't get coffee mugs this year. And as some of you will know, coffee mugs carry a tremendous weight in this community. We're working on it. We weren't happy with the mugs that we saw this year. Also, on top of the t-shirts, that merchandise stall will be open from the morning coffee break. We're also going to have a raffle running where we have some t-shirts as well as several volumes of the Game AI Pro series by Steve Rabin and the Game AI Uncovered series by Paul Roberts available to give away as prizes. And we'll give away the prizes at the end of the day. I want to take a quick note to thank Paul Roberts himself, who worked with CRC to send us all these books. Sadly, Paul couldn't be here with us today. No, sorry, he just couldn't make it down. I realize saying it that way, it sounds like something happened. He's fine, he's all right. I spoke with him on Discord yesterday, he's all right. But he couldn't make it down to the event today. But I really appreciate, he reached out to me as soon as he knew we were doing this. And he's like, look, I'm going to send a bunch of books down because I think it's important to have, Volume 3 comes out in January, by the way. But yeah, fantastic. Check that out once we get to the coffee break. And with that, I need to stop talking and let our first speaker get set up. Thank you all so much for being here. I hope you all have a fantastic time, and I'll catch in with you throughout the day. Thank you.